Whoa. Here we go. It's your boy Carcino here. And let's get to it. The Migos. Everybody saying they suing quality control and everything else. Saying they've been cheated out of millions. And you guys have been like, man, you got to talk about it. What's going on with the Migos? What's happening here? And this is just crazy. This makes no sense. What's going on? Quality control ripping people off. What's going on, Cino? Now, I told you guys yesterday that we was going to get to this later. But it's a lot of stuff that went down yesterday I had to deal with. So today is a whole new day. It's a brand new day. And now, let's get into it. Kernick Ball, aka Takeoff, Quavius Marshall, known as Quavo, and what's his name? Kari Cephas, Offset. They suing Damian Granderson and his law firm, and saying that they robbed and cheated them out of millions of dollars. You see, Granderson, the lawyer, was working with the Migos when they first was coming out, when they was doing White Tea and all them songs back in the day. Okay? He the one that got them into the 300 deal that they didn't like with 300 Entertainment. They didn't like how that went down. They were teenagers in early 20s, and they basically had a high school education. They didn't know what was going on. Now, the Migos negotiated an amendment to the 2018 deal that they had with Capitol Records and QCM, which is Quality Control Music. And they had an exclusive label agreement. So the amendment triggered what they call an extension on the exclusive recording agreements between QCM and Migos. Now, the lawyer, who was Granderson, he knew that in these terms that's in the contract is very unfavorable for the Migos. Now, see, here's the kicker. Granderson is also the lawyer that works with QCM. Now, how is the lawyer that's working with quality control, Pierre and Coach K, how they lawyer is working and representing both of them? That's a huge conflict of interest. Who you think that lawyer gonna side with? Hmm? Look, in a clause that would represent the Migos, they would have to service directly to Capitol Records if the band ever ended its relationship with Quality Control. They go exclusively to Capitol Records. And it was drafted in a way that financially would put them in a disservice from doing so. That means that Granderson effectively prevented the Migos from ever being free of paying excessive compensation to QCM from ever being signed to any other record label and from ever obtaining negotiating leverage in a deal. Do you understand that? That's crippling. So for all their distribution of the music and everything that's going in right now, the Migos would lose out on millions of dollars because they can't renegotiate. They don't have negotiating leverage. So whatever low deal that they signed them at, has, no matter how big the artists, the Migos get, they're gonna be stuck at a rate that's like, you basically, let's say you come in and you're making in the NBA 250,000 a year. You are playing at Giannis level, got Giannis type stats. You win a couple of MVPs. It's time for you to become a free agent and get the big money. And they're saying you can't be a free agent. You signed it in your contract saying that we got to keep you basically at this rate that we want to give you. You don't get to negotiate. You never have this leverage. This is why I tell you people, don't trust lawyers. Don't trust anybody. Learn how to get what you deserve on these contracts. This is your life. This is your children's lives. This is your parents' life. Forget that big body Benz. Forget the truck. Forget the Rolls Royce. All that is distraction. Forget the gold chain, the jewelry, the watch. Forget all of it. It means nothing in the end. Do you understand? This is what you need to be concerned about. Your future distribution, your revenue, your royalties. These are the things that are being given to you, and in return they're paying you off with gifts. But Granderson knew what he was doing. He's a crooked lawyer, by my opinion. Now, they say he wasn't able, I don't know, but they're saying that the guy wasn't licensed to be even doing what he was doing in California after moving to LA. You know, he had offices in New York and LA, but there's a gray area there. So I don't know what they're saying there, but anyway. They're looking to get out of this deal and void the contract by conflict of interest. They have a connection. But they have to prove that Granderson was working with Quality Control Music at the time of negotiations and purposely did that to them. The same thing almost happened to another artist just about a year ago. What's his name? Skipper the Dipper? Almost the same thing was happening with him, but he woke up and said, "Okay, yeah, I gotta go, P." You know, I don't. They did a confidentiality thing where neither side is talking about it really, but this is why Skipper was out. The same type of ordeal. So the Migos are gonna sue for professional malpractice, a breach of duty, and a breach of contract. They are seeking restitution and punitive damages. Um, they're seeking that declaration of the 5% contingent fee agreement is invalid. So they don't think that 5% should be paid. They think it's invalid. Now, Pierre, made a lengthy statement after seeing all of this go down. The legal papers are out because it's filed with the County of Los Angeles in the Central District. Professional malpractice. They call it fiducial duty, breach of that. Declaration release, unjust enrichment, violation of the California business codes. That's, those, it's about three violations for that. Now, this is against the lawyers, though. But it looks like, well, quality control and everything else involved and all of the legal paperwork, my goodness, it's crazy. Now, they're saying the text of the Artist Amendment strongly supports that Granderson assumed this dual representation, even though Granderson never provided the Migos with a written fee agreement or a conflict waiver, which means that he has done work with QCM before, quality control, but never told them he was representing their interests as well. The Migos never did understand that they had such leverage because Granderson told them that they did not have it in the first place. So he legally misrepresented them in this situation. He never gave them a conflict waiver, which means that I've worked with this client before in the past. So, I do work with them. I could work with both of you, but you have to sign this waiver that allows me to do so. So that waiver would, say, I don't mind that, this lawyer is working with the both of us, and therefore the conflict of interest is out the window when you have a conflict waiver. Now, he said they never had a written fee agreement either, so this 5%, I guess they just pulling it out the air. It's a lot of paperwork here, man. It's a lot of stuff going on. Now, they're saying songwriters and co-publishing agreements for Quavo with UMC, the Universal Music Group. Going back then, he got publishing rights on all of those. The writer agreement for Quavo dated back in January. Touring agreements, takeoff artist agreement, merchandising agreement with Bravo International Group Merchanting. He was paid off that. He was paid off another agreement on February 20th from Quavo and Offset and the Migos artist agreement on 2016 had to pay him too. That 5%. Um, he had the ASCAP writer agreement, another 5% for him. So he had a lot of 5% popping up over the years. This is a very very powerful, powerful piece, man, and lawsuit. Now, P came out and said in a lengthy statement on IG, it's unfortunate that the same people that we have worked hard for, provided opportunities for, and championed for are now alleging that we have participated in any kind of immoral or unfair business practices or took advantage of them in their careers. I will not stand by and let quality control music reputation and everything we have built and sacrificed be tarnished by allegations of unfair and unjust business practices. I understand in this business that you are not always going to end up with people you started with. I say that to say I am not forcing anybody to be in business with us that has a problem and cannot communicate and does not want to work as a unit. Everything is negotiable, and he's blamed communication, like they're not communicating. So if someone's not communicating, how are we supposed to move forward? I mean, it's a 22 page doc. I might put the doc on Patreon so everybody can see the legal documents, and then they can go through it for themselves and see and learn from it. People gotta understand that, Brian Freeman is the guy who signed off, who's representing the Migos in this situation. He's one of the lawyers. There's like 4 or 5 lawyers involved in this. And it's sad because here it is, 2020, and artists are still getting ripped off. And it's like, man, y'all don't figure this out. This happened because they were young and they wanted fame. So I want the young people that listened to this and wanted me to do this video so badly. And I wanted to do the video because I want to educate you guys on the business. This is what Nipsey wanted to do for y'all. Nipsey wanted to do this for y'all. He wanted to do this podcast with me and some other people to educate people about the pitfalls. Nipsey this is his first major album. First album to come out, and unfortunately is one of his last because he lost his life. Foolishly, this guy took his life. But he wanted to educate you guys on the business because one of you guys want to be an artist. If you want to be something, learn how to be the very best at it. Learn every aspect. If you want to sing, learn how to engineer your songs so you can know how it sounds. You know what it's supposed to sound like. The engineer might have an idea of what he wants it to sound like. You got to help and work with the engineer so it could sound the way you envisioned it. That's the way it's supposed to go. Now, let's take it another step further. Okay? Artists make a mistake of signing away their publishing rights and everything else from the very beginning. From the very beginning. And they don't even know what they've signed away. Hire an outside lawyer. If the lawyer knows or work well with them, and no, don't use the lawyer that's the company lawyer. Hire your own lawyer. It might be costful and it might cost you a lot of money, but it's gonna save you in the end. Have your own lawyer. I wouldn't care what it costs. I'm hiring my own attorney. Somebody who's there for my interests. Not somebody you're going to give me that's going to give me a deal that's not going to be in my favor. These were young kids. So I can't blame the Migos because they were young. So all I could do is tell you young guys, and a lot of you want to be artists, and y'all look at the Migos, learn. Learn from this. The Migos are the biggest artists in the world, right? They got multi-millions of dollars. They got big homes, they got big cars, but now they screaming for their money because they're not getting it. Okay, they got to pay lawyers, they got to pay this, they're not getting what they deserve. And they're missing the opportunity to make major amount of money. And they didn't realize it until now. That the mistake was made many years ago. Now they got to sue their way out of it because it's like ridiculous. So everybody has terms and contracts that void certain things out. Then this verbiage only lawyers can understand that is helpful to you and very harmful to you. So they're not made for people who don't know the law. For those who think I'm just going to represent myself, I wouldn't advise that. I would advise someone who was very well schooled in music business law, who deal with contracts 24 hours a day. Like I tell you, it's costly. If you have to take a loan out to pay for that lawyer, you pay for that lawyer. Because he's going to make sure it's all done correctly. Because he has your best interest and not the company's. Now, let other artists learn it, like the 360 deals and all of this. Everybody looked at Jay-Z when he got the 360 deal. Remember that? Jay-Z and the 360 deal. Jay got the 360. What? He got a 360 deal. Jay. A lot of y'all didn't know Jay-Z had a 360 deal until I made the video and told you. Jay had a 360 deal. And they was like, no, he didn't. Jay-Z, man, he was talking about artists taking stupid deals. A 360 deal is not a bad deal. It's a bad deal depending on your situation of negotiating. If you're an artist just starting out, a 360 deal could and might not help you. You get a large amount of money up front from the record company, but they're going to have a piece of your show money. They're going to have a piece of your endorsements. They're going to have a piece of everything. Okay? Until your contract or term is out. So they don't mind giving you extra money because now instead of them taking the majority of the risk, they got something to gain and you got something to gain too. So the 360 deal is not always a bad deal. You have to understand how the terms are set up. Jay-Z did a deal with Live Nation for 100 some odd millions of dollars. And everybody, man, Jay did this $100 million deal with Live Nation. They were giving Jay a lot of money up front, and he signed on to a 360 deal. He was doing these shows and tours international that Live Nation put together, and they were getting a chunk of that money. But the 360 deal came to an end. And then Jay renegotiated the deal. So he would keep all said money when it come to touring and shows. He had earned that to now when he tours and everything else. But he was reinvented with Live Nation. Back when they did Blueprint 3 and all that, that's when he signed that deal, basically, after he came out of that and started doing those tours. This is when the 360 deal was put into place and Jay was able to reestablish himself, and him and Beyonce became a brand, and he basically used that to boost himself to where he wanted to be, and it worked out. So for some artists who are basically 2-year artists, 360 deal might not help you because you don't have the fortitude, the work ethic. You don't have everything in place that will help you get what you need. Because the problem is you. You got the one hit single, but you can't follow it up. So they're making their money off everything. You're like, man, I'm not getting enough. Why they got their hands in everything? They got that for the next 4 albums. Next 4 or 5 albums or whatever they signed you for, and they got the option to drop you if your numbers don't reach certain benchmarks. So the upfront money you got, boom, there you go. So hopefully you made yourself high. And artists get mad because they try to go do something else and they can't because they still stuck in a 360 deal. And you see Young Buck, man, I'm still stuck under this contract, man. This dude got me in this messed up contract. Young Buck was in a bad contract because Young Buck don't understand that he put himself in the hole financially in the taxes. He ended up signing away publishings and ownership and all of his licensing and all of these things to the songs, and 50 basically gave him the money for it. So it wasn't gonna hurt 50, because 50 is gonna get that money anyway. Like, okay, you want this money? Well, you gotta sign this piece of paper. And then I can get you the 250. But now I got the publishing to this, and now you still owe me. So if you want out the contract, you could buy yourself out the contract, and then go solo if that's what you want to do. But Young Buck handling business practices was always going to be a problem. That wasn't his forte. It wasn't his wheelhouse. Now, me on the other hand, I see things a lot differently. So I wish the Migos luck. They did get screwed over, I believe, and they got taken advantage of by the lawyer and the record company. So this is the record business, and I mean the record business. Recker, the record business. They will wreck ya. Prince made that famous. Now, this business will eat you up and spit you out. We all know that. So everything that's been designed to be in this game of owning a record company has been screwing over the artists. There's never been a deal in history that is designed to help the artists from the record label. And they just gonna take their little meaningless cut while you go out and have fun and do all these things. No, that was never the case. What they were supposed to do is keep making money, you keep working, and then you bringing them new talent, and then you fade out the picture, and they continuously make money off of the new life. You guys are like batteries to them. They love it when you first get you, and they use all your juice, and then you start to fade away, and then they replace you and pop in a new battery. So, what's today's lesson? Stay independent. Build your own self up, because record labels are not even spending money or getting you artist development money anymore. So develop yourself. I know you're gonna say, man, that's a struggle, man. I gotta make yourself hot. Do shows. Get out and grind. Cause believe me, once you sign that deal with the majors, they ain't finna do that. You're gonna do it anyway. And you're gonna be like, what am I paying you for? Cause you getting money, so why am I paying you just to be on the major? That's dumb. Well, we putting you in a studio. I could have recorded in my basement. Most of the songs already recorded. With the internet now, you don't even need a studio. People got studios in the crib. See what I'm saying? 50 Cent recorded most of his album, Get Rich or Die Trying. He recorded majority of that album on the move. He had most of them songs like basically done. That's why it's so many. He had so many songs already to go. And they was like, man, this dude is not playing around. So when Dre and them touched down and started getting with it, they was like, this dude is off and running. That's right. You gotta want it. So I'm gonna get out of here, man. Hopefully you guys learned something today. Don't forget to hit the notification bell. Select all if you like this video. Don't forget you can hit my Cash App up, Carcino. Show support to the page. We appreciate all the love and support, man. The Carcino for Life Patreon. You know, we're gonna put the whole Migos court paperwork in there so you can go through it, read it all word for word, and learn some things. We're gonna do that on the Patreon. So I want to say thank you again. 4 videos up. I'm out.